this early, but that's how seeding goes sometimes. So.
Yeah, the two of them are definitely favorites. And it looks like we're off.
Oh, wow. And a bow in Link's house. Jeez.
So
that's good for
good starting item.
That's good for a lot of reasons. That's a weapon. We can use that to kill stuff. Now we just need the first, like, the tier 1 tree pole to be arrows, and then they could just go right on through Hyrule Castle and start knocking that out.
Definitely a good option. If you find a weapon, especially in this escape area with Uncle, then you can just go ahead and do escape and potentially pretend NMG.
Yeah, right.
But looks like Scudge is going straight to Eastern. It's a very bold play.
I gotta say though, four count bomb drops from tier 1 tree poles, probably a better deal.
Definitely. Love the bombs.
And then Ice Rod from Uncle. We're already getting items. Yeah, this is the craziest start I think I've ever seen from a player. I can't say I agree with it, but let's hold our breath and see how this pays out.
He is in it to win it. But yeah, it's kind of, we got the bow, we got the ice rod, and those two items can be pretty trolly, and we got the flute.
Wow, what an opening. Okay.
This is one of those scenes where it's kind of like you got a lot of trolly items either way, but then I think it's just trying to find everything else that's going to be trolly overall.
Well, at least Scudge got a bug net, so you know he's got that going for him right now.
Yeah. Aga require potentially.
I'm guessing that bow just sent him straight here. Like, he doesn't have anything else on his mind. He's like, well, let's go to Eastern. We got a bow. Clearly we have to go kill stuff.
Follow the zebra comes.
Zebra comes alive.
No, it's very interesting too, because he doesn't even have arrows right now. So it's a very bold play.
And that's our second item out of Eastern. Gonna be grabbing those secret hearts underneath there, which is always nice. 3 hearts, 3 pots.
I didn't know this existed. Looks like Zaen doing a more typical Lost Wood check here.
Zaen going for the default play, the safe play. And Scudge going with the, I'm in a game 2 setting. If I'm gonna lose, looks. Well, that would have been nice. That would have been nice for this Eastern play.
It would have been. I feel like he should have got the arrow grade because it's like, here's everything for arrows very early. You're gonna need them.
Ooh, well, there's a hook shot. Item number 3 out of Eastern Palace, hook shot, which paired with that flute gets you to the east side of Death Mountain. So.
Yeah, things are already opening up very quickly.
We did see. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's very handy for movement. So in a way, when Scudge goes through this Lost Wood section, he'll be able to save a little bit of time.
Definitely. Now here is we did see like a quick map check, but it was like the quickest of map checks. It was literally like a 1-second map check from Scudge, I believe. So we don't know what Eastern is at the moment, but either at this point in the game it doesn't even matter. But what does matter is Zaen picking up those boots. So he's got flute, he's got boots, he's got movement.
That's gotta be boots. Yeah, he's walking on sunshine right now.
Scudge is gonna have to be a little bit careful. He is a very skilled player of this game, so I'm sure he has some perfect setup to deal with this room in the dark. But this room up here is a little bit scary when you don't have, a fire source. What?
A fire source, Willard?
A fire source?
Good. Yeah, no, he's a very competent player. He has a very strong time in NMG. He's kind of known as the professor. He knows a lot about the game. Very, very skilled player. So, bold plays like this, I'm not surprised at all to see them from him.
It also helps having that hookshot seems like a good item. Also, did Zaen pick up a fire rod in the bottom of the well when I said fire source? Yeah. Is that why? Okay.
That's so it's like a fire source, Willard.
Oh no.
It's pretty funny. Unfortunate death for Mr. Skudge here.
Yeah.
Looks like he's opting to nope out of the dungeon, which is probably the best idea for this moment in time. You don't want to take a death and then hammer your head against whichever situation you're in.
I mean, he already got the 3 items out of there, so unless it was green pendant or something, he doesn't have anything else to do there except for to get the crystal, which, you know, who knows? He could route that in later. Maybe if it's crystal pod and you can just mirror out and finish that off, so... But yeah, with that early bow, I would assume that we might be seeing an earlier pod play. And Zaen turning in their bottle to get that beautiful green rupee. Oh, okay. It is 3 crystals, all in the light world. Crystal 5, the pyramid crystal, 1 of 2, is at Eastern Palace.
Bomb upgrade for Zaen, very hype. But yeah, so I imagine Skudge will probably just route it in later with a pod check. Obviously we don't have Dark World access, so right now it's still a little bit up in the air how they get pushed, and they might still get pushed towards Aghanim. And then, of course, having the bow makes pod a lot more appealing as a welcoming party into the Dark World.
Definitely. Oh, I wonder, with this flute and hookshot, I wonder how long... I wonder if Skudge is going to go for the Eastern Death Mountain play sooner. Or if he's going to stick to the general safe route of Kakariko. Well, he'll finish out Kakariko, but then, you know, go South Shore and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe this early Eastern play actually ended up working out for him.
Yeah, you never know. And now they have a lot of mobility. So I imagine they'll probably check a lot of the safer areas. And then Death Mountain, probably not too far on the horizon.
Now, if whenever Zaen goes to Eastern, if he can complete it all in one go, he's going to save a good chunk of time from Skudge. We'll have to go back and get that crystal eventually.
Yeah, that's correct. Looks like he's heading over to Ice Cavern and potentially Zora, but I don't really see it at the moment. Moldarm, Ice Cavern. I kind of like to save any of the Fake Flipper, the Sequence Break, if you have a Moon Pearl, but it's hard to say what other people like to go for, because you can get burnt. In the weekly, Samaria was at the Waterfall Cave. Turned out to be my go mode item, but that could have led to loss. So it was a very good room there.
Yeah, usually for me in this scenario, I'd probably go check... Well, there's the gloves. So we're 2 items away from the Dark World. A B-Torp, and a few more other things, but a nice health refill. What I was saying is, you know, I'd flute, check Ice Rock Cave, and then maybe Fake Flipper at least a hobo. Mostly because then that at least gets me information about what's on the island.
Yeah, for sure. It can be really awkward to try and route in the floating island if you don't check it, because it's not terribly out of the way, but it's out of the way enough where it's not really on the way to anything. It really depends on how the rest of the sea goes, so you don't necessarily want to leave that. It's always a good option. Get 1 item from Hobo, could be safety, could be something good, and then the information.
Yeah, who knows, this could be like a sword or something. Or a blue rupee. Same thing. Yeah, Skudge... Oh no, Skudge does not have enough rupees for the bottle vendor. But awesome little hook speed right there to kind of get to the chicken hut a little bit quicker.
Yep, very making use of their early arsenal. And I like what Zane's doing here. You have the glove, it's in the logic to check back of escape. It's a pretty safe and quick play because you can save and quit to Sanctuary. So he'll get potentially 3 items here. And we will find the Pearl, an arrow upgrade, and a little bit of love.
Alright, so I'm already feeling glove or hammer gonna be up on that East Death Mountain at this point.
No, it's definitely a good bet. It'd be fun if it was both. They have a lot of the world open to them, but seems to be the case. Aghanim, yeah, it's starting to fade a little bit, but you never know.
Yeah, definitely. Now, something worth noting is that when Skudge was over here, he didn't have any bombs, so he was not able to check what was at Sahasrahla. So, heck, Sahasrahla could be our invitation to the Dark World.
Yeah, Saskatchewan could be holding out on us. You never know.
Interesting. Zaen opting to use bombs, though you could bonk that with your boots.
I wonder if it probably saves a little bit of time because you need to open or you need to lift the pots, but somewhat negligible. And yeah, bombs are precious, but
well, he lifted the pots anyway, so.
Well, but I mean, like while the bomb is exploding, and then bonking. I don't know.
Seconds. We're talking seconds. Very important.
Matters, Willard.
It matters. Every second counts. We had a race wrap up yesterday that was 13 seconds apart. It was in the secondary tournament, so, you know, these seconds matters. I'm not being facetious. I'm being sincere, I promise. It's the tone of my voice should say that, hey, Will is being serious right now. We should pay attention.
It's approximately 4 sarsaparilla units, so he is making good on at least one right there.
Precisely.
And Skudge going over to the den, checking out the southern area here. Zaen already did it, but now he's kind of following in Skudge's footsteps, checking out eastern. A lot safer for this section. I do like what Skudge did, because if there was some sort of progression or, you know, big find besides the hookshot, you know, it could really have sped things up, but just the way it went, it didn't quite work out this time.
Now, I wonder, since Skudge has already done all of Hyrule, or Eastern, if he'll go straight up to Death Mountain with his flute that he does have, after he gets the power gloves here.
That bomb is to reach that cave on like the last pixel.
Bomb hitboxes are so weird. Every now and then I'll be in this cave and I'll try and I'll toss a bomb into the center to get a double, and it'll just blow up on top of them and kill none of them. I'm like, all right. And then you got like the bomb hut in Village of Outcasts that just for some reason has like a huge range. I have no idea why. Yeah, it's goofy. Skudge could probably tell you.
Yeah, so he's gonna flute to 8 here and go check Ice Straw Cavern. The cavern is never required unless it is. So it's a very fun location to go to. It's very tempting to gamble it, especially if you don't have mobility, but being part of Overworld, I think it's always a good option to check. Especially early game. Like, late game, overall can be a little bit of a hit and miss, but early game, it really sets the tone for the scene, so you don't want to miss too many open and free spaces.
Yeah, it looked like Skudge was having kind of a back and forth. Oh, nope. He just wanted to get that bomb. I guess. I don't think I think he's struggling to decide if he wants to do Hyrule or go straight up to Death Mountain. Looks like we're gonna get a Death Mountain out of him.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I'm sure they know they want to go to Death Mountain anyway. Eastern Escape would definitely not be a bad option, but their progression is more likely on the mountain.
So yeah, here's what I was talking about before. So Zane's gonna actually make up quite a bit of time with this play because he will be 100% done with this dungeon. And if Pyramid Fairy ends up being, you know, part of the seed holding any sort of items, he'll already have one of her crystals, so
yeah,
it's pretty big.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, it's interesting though that they're both sequence breaking. So if either, like, if the Fat Fairy leads to something and they don't find the lamp, then it would be part of the sequence break. And of course, Skudge going through to rescue the lost old man is also sequence break.
I feel like they should change the logic to account for when you have Fire Rod for certain rooms. Because, like, that room, you can just light the torch. It would make sense.
It's a pretty interesting idea, actually, now that you mention it.
But you'd have to...
true, you can light up the room.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to do it weird because, like, the right side of Eastern would be a logic break because there's no torches in there. But to go kill Armos could potentially not be a logic break. But if we want to overcomplicate things, that'd be a way to do it.
Gotta be careful though, because all of a sudden you add that change in, and the logic makes it so that 50% of the time catfish or that cave is required. can get kind of interesting from generating the logic.
I just think it'd be interesting if players were required to have a little bit extra knowledge. You know.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
I certainly agree.
But I'm a madman. All right, Zaen gonna be saving that old man. So following very closely behind Skudge with that crystal advantage and that ice rod advantage. But we still don't know what our pendant dungeons are. We have 3 pendant dungeons in the Dark World. This very well could be a pendant mire, pendant T-Rock, and what's a good one we like to skip? Pendant Swamp. A mirrorless, rodless, caneless. Well, we got Fire Rabbit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me slow down.
Not a problem. Skudge opening up Hype Cave, finding a bomb upgrade. It's going pretty good. Some money, a little bit of love, but bomb upgrade, so we're good.
Is that Death Mountain a Hype Cave now? We just have like a slew of Hype Caves just based on locations.
Oh, Skudge going for the hover.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've watched him do hovers. A little unfortunate there, but a little inconsequential. He pushed the block, he's already setting up for it, so it was really cool. Especially this early in the morning. It can be a little tricky to do, but no, I kind of always address the Hype Caves in order of which one I went to. The first one would be Hype Cave, the second one would be Hyper Cave, and then the last one would be Hype Est Cave. But,
okay, so Mini Moldering Cave, is that the first tier 1 Hype Cave?
Yeah, I think it's the true Hype Cave because it's early in the game and there's almost always something. So it's like
there usually is at least one good item in there.
It's like the Kinder Surprise of the cave and locations.
Yeah.
It's like you can't wait to open it. Hope you get some cool toys inside.
Well, a bit of a surprise here. We haven't actually seen any real value in Death Mountain. So unless Spiral Cave is our answer, you know, it could be Bonk Rocks, which they unlocked, but I don't think either of them is checked with the boots. Could be the beginning of Hyrule. Could be Agnes Cave. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of peculiar because they did have the boots right away, and they didn't really do the whole flank sherry thing. They kind of just went about their business, but...
Yeah, it looks like Scud's realizing that now. You know, that's... Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb, at least for me personally, are just 2 of those spots that I always forget to check, like, after I get the boots. Like, oh, crap, I forgot. Let's go check things. But it looks like Scud's just gonna go check the back of his game first. Which is still, you know, probably a better play. He will get his Moon Pearl there.
Yeah. It kind of depends on how you go about it, but yeah, definitely a solid plan here. So Escape might actually have our worth. Yeah,
because the thing is, we still don't have, you know, a sword or a lamp or a cape. So Aga's not even on the table at all. We're more likely to get a hammer and a glove, or a glove at this rate. But I'm just being optimistic. Or pessimistic, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I always said that the glass is medium whenever asked that question.
Alright, it looks like both players making the same play at this point. Scudge having to check the uncle first, since he hasn't done that yet, but they'll both be heading into Hyrule Castle around the same time. What will we see on Zane's side first? What fancy items we're going to find down here? I'm expecting another glove. And then Hammer's going to be in a disgusting location.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. And I think Hammer would be a little too easy for them. I was gonna say real quick, in Spiral Cave, it's always nice to have the boots for that cave, but when you don't have the boots, I kind of think of it as Pump Cave. Trying to optimize that little bit of movement to get through quickly.
I still need to learn how to pump, or at least just learn.
You don't want to.
Every time I talk about it, people are like, nah, it's not worth it. I'm like, but just think of the save,
frames?
like the time save. The frames.
For every 113 pumps, that's 1 sarsaparilla bomb throw.
1 sarsaparilla. Alright, well, it looks like Hyrule Castle's looking like a bust unless we're about to get like a lamp or something, which would be pretty vanilla. So after that, what do we have left? You know, this could be a seed where our players are forced to do Zora, like Rupee Farm.
That's very true.
And that 50 rupees is gonna help. But what is the next play? We have, what do we have left? We have Zora and we have Agana, I think, and then we have Bonk Rocks. So maybe Bonk Rocks was the correct answer.
Did we see what was that, Lumberjack? I feel like...
Lumberjack was bombs, I believe.
Oh, okay. This is like, if they get the lamp, and then they get the cape, or a sword upgrade, they might have to do the whole go through the Dark World and work around with the hookshot and do a loop.
Oh, man. Alright, I was wrong. Oh, we got Skudge using the Frozen Man to clear his way. It's always exciting.
It's a very good, fun strategy. Maybe a little bit overlooked because you don't typically end up in that situation, but you know, have a weapon, you have the ice rod. The soldier definitely does a lot of damage. Saves a little time over the pots.
It's either 2 Frozen Mans or 2 pots, but having to walk back and grab another pot always takes some time. Yeah, now Skudge is going to be going back and checking Sahasrarlo since he didn't in the first time he was there.
Yeah. And only 20 rupees at Agana, so they are starting to run out of options. They need to find something really quickly.
It has to be Zora then, right? What do they have left?
Yeah, so far I can only think of Zora. Zora and Bonk Rocks.
Up, Zane's setting up for the hula hand.
Yeah, he's thinking Zora. This soldier.
And with Fire Rod in hand,
overtime.
It looks like Skudge is going to go finish Eastern, and more than likely he'll probably grab those 90 rupees in the back of here. So he's going to be a little bit behind because it has to be this. Like it has to be Zora. There's literally nothing left.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that he would go back, but again, the rupee, getting the rupees make a lot of sense. Probably figures he'll just go straight to Zora. Knows that there's no other item here, but it might just be a closure thing. He wants to get this out of the way, and then you got rupees too.
He wants to avenge himself.
Zaen going to the mountain. Oh, yeah, I guess he never checked the top area, huh?
Oh, did he go straight right? I guess
yeah, he must have went straight right. That would be so funny if it's right here.
The only thing that's up here is a red boomerang. So, what is he doing? Oh.
This is a quick location check, though. You have the flute, so you get to the mountain pretty quickly.
Skudge not grabbing her.
He's gonna fake flipper. Probably get to waterfall and everything here.
So I guess it looks like Skudge only came back here just to complete it. Yeah, the nice thing is with that Moon Pearl in hand, you would be able to set up the water walk, and it's even better when you have the boots. So you can water run behind the waterfall.
Yeah, it's very convenient how this area is laid out too, in tandem with the boots.
That was scary.
Zora's
that was a little clutch. So this will be a sequence break, but imagine... Well, at this point, Zora's got to have hammer or mitts. There's just nothing to it. Like, there's just not enough items to go to Aga, so that has to be the answer. Unless it's like the book to go into Death Mountain. Or not Death Mountain, Desert Palace. Which, they'd have everything to complete it. Minus a sword. But you don't need a sword for that.
Yeah, that's a very good fight by Skudge, by the way, speaking of sniping. But yeah, just the way Zora's domain is laid out, you can just dash right on through. It's very convenient.
Now, it looked like you didn't check what was on the ledge. Oh, and there are mitts. We have Dark World access. Sweet. So he's gonna go check it now.
Yep, and they can now check the Mire area, or they can go to Kakuku or Dark World. So we knew it had to be something, but it's good to see the glove. I think having the book and everything, like, it's okay when it seems a little bit linear, but if it gets too linear, then you're just like, okay.
And with that, Zane's going to be taking quite a bit of a lead at this point, because Skudge is going to have to farm a few more rupees. Now, there is a really quick rupee farm. If he's, judging by the fact that he's backtracking here, he's probably going to go check that rupee farm, which is in that little cave on the in between the dam and desert. So
yeah, it's definitely
he's thinking ahead. He's smart.
He is thinking ahead, planning for his future.
Only a piece of heart out of Kingston.
You hate to not have gloves and then you have to get rupees, because then you're dipping into like Blind's Hut or something really obnoxious that you can't do land, or if you can't do in the area here. Yeah, looks like Zaen now going to go to Dark World. That's the fire rod, so he could do skull loads.
Well, he could at least
have a good weapon though.
He could get into the last part, but he can't beat Mothula without that sword.
Yeah, looks like he's kind of contemplating a little bit here, but it doesn't take too long to get to, so I can definitely agree with putting it off for a little bit.
Now, I want to see a map check, so we know what these pendant dungeons are.
Nah. Don't need a map check.
Do it.
Just
map
follow
check.
the items.
Do it! They didn't talk to Sahasrahla, so I'm already upset about that.
It's not going to the treasure shop yet. Let's see. He has the menu too. Might be routing it in a little bit after. This town's a little bit awkward to route.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to route in the NMG run.
It looks like you might be checking the Lumia area, maybe for hammer, and then dip into these, but no map check yet, so it'll be interesting to see if it's even worth clearing.
Now the question is, at what point are we going to get our first sword? We're already 27 minutes in, no swords in sight. And it's like without hammer, Zane's going to say no to his Thieves' Town.
I'm hoping around the 60-minute mark.
That'd be great.
My first match was 77 minutes, so I think 60 is pretty fair. But I hope they have safety.
Oh. Darn it! 27 minutes, we shouldn't have said anything. This is what we get.
The Tetris piece unlocks the first sword. They're like, no, that's too mean. Here, have a sword.
That's funny. So Digging Game housing our first sword of the match. We still have 3 more swords to find, so... And
yeah,
Skudge
one
digging up.
Out of the 4 sword Zelda adventure.
Yeah, just gotta find the other ones.
Yeah.
The blue guy, and the purple guy, and the red guy. We got the green one.
Oh man. It's my favorite show, The Power Guys.
The power.
I apologize.
You should.
So, Zaen doing his Southern Dark World tour here. Oh, there's our map check. Green pendant skull.
Mire, pendant ice, green pendant skull, and crystal 6 at T-Rock. So those rods are gonna be worth it.
So all the corners have something interesting. 3 of them have pendants, and 1 has a plus-size model fairy crystal.
That is true. Interesting how that laid out.
So no, all 4 are probably required. It would be too unpoetic to not have that be the case. Hype cave though, small cave. One to love.
And of course they ran out of hype for the last hype cave. Well, there was our 300 for Zora, so, you know, that going for us.
I think hype is kind of a state of being, but what I really like when I look at that cave is see how many of the same item is in the cave. Sometimes it's like, oh, 3 or 4 red rupees. Other times it's like, oh, hey, 3 heart piece. Like, that's kind of what I enjoy.
I would rather get 4 red rupees in a row than like a mass of different junk.
Yeah.
It's just that's more hype than like getting a heart piece and an arrow upgrade and a 300 rupee and a shovel. Give me 4 reds, or get out of here.
The village lady calling the Popo on Zaen, but thankfully he's a fast runner, so he's able to escape the authority.
Zaen picking up the blue tunic. Just a nice little safety to have. Now, unfortunately, well, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Skullwoods is housing a sword for Skudge. But he knows he can't complete this without a sword. But he can at least check the first few sections.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The dungeon's broken up, so if you go into it early, it's not a terrible thing. You can really get through it very quickly.
And especially with it being a green pendant, like, you might not even want to have to finish it. There's our first item. And it looks like Zaen is going to be diving into Thieves' Town without a hammer.
I think it's a pretty good play. I would try to wait until I have boots or hammer before I go into Thieves, because I feel like, you know, double dipping to check the big chest is a lot of time waste. And then for boots helps in some dungeons more than others, and I feel like Thieves is one dungeon where it really benefits. So if you haven't done kind of like the High Cave, Southern, overworld check, I like to hold off and then go into Thieves after. Because if you don't find the hammer, if you don't find something, chances are it is in here. But
yeah,
if it's not, then
do we have a hammer in the weekly in here?
Jigaway?
The hammer was in Thieves' Town. It was in the Maiden Cell in the weekly, if I recall correctly.
It's correct. I went to it and I'm like, well, figures, but...
Yeah, I was... Because I also don't like to gamble without a hammer, but I was like, yeah, let's just... whatever. Once you go inside, it's like, alright, I started this, I have to go. Oh, and I think Skudge was looking for a Death Warp, but still had that fairy, so... no luck there.
I've done that before, so it's fun.
I mean, at least he didn't do it, like, trying to Death Warp in Palace of Darkness. That's the worst place. And he's got, like, red mail and 12 hearts or something.
Oh, yeah. Who would do such a thing? That'd be the worst situation.
Well, Skudge is going all for it. Skudge is making some interesting gambles. He must be playing, you know, to his opponent. He must be thinking Zaen. Zaen is a really good player, so I understand making some of these gambles, but this one's a bit too much of a gamble for me. Going in here without a sword.
You like the easy Thieves' Town play, just first thing enter it. No, I definitely agree. It's very daunting, and the main thing is that if you die in Skullwoods, you are typically out of magic, so then you need to get a magic refill, and that takes time. And just like everything once all said and done can just eat up a ton of time in this dungeon. But definitely respect the bold play. I mean, sometimes you need to do that to, you know, really advance, to really make a splash in regards to the tournament. But it looks like he just went in to check the item, open it up real quick.
Now, the trolliest thing would be as if there was a sword in the big chest. It's like, alright, now you can go back and fight Mothula. Oh, and the flippers in the Maiden Cell in Thieves' Town. And we will need those, not only to complete... Oh, actually, just to complete Swamp Palace, but you never know. Ice Palace could be required in this one.
Yep. The red rupee and piece of heart is no longer Stephen's break, so people can, we can all stop stressing over that.
It's a very important information to have. I was so worried.
Imagine if rupees were part of Zero Logic. It's like you got that one red rupee.
Sometimes I feel like it is, because every now and then I'll get like 2 sets of 300, I'm like, so you want me to go to Zora, right? But it means nothing.
Don't trust the fish, it means nothing.
And a really great blind fight out of Zaen. And over on Skudge's side, unfortunately, only finding another small key in the big chest. So Mothula is going to be holding our last item in Skull Woods. And with that save and quit out, he's going to be even further away from finding that sword.
Yeah, it's kind of strange how Rando leads you depending on the decisions you make. It can really make or break you. You can feel so good, and then you're set for failure, or you might set up for failure, and then it just turns out to be everything.
Oh, and on Zane's side, he might be going for the full play, the full Skull Woods play at this point. He's got his sword. He can fight Mothula, so... Fighter's sword, well, he's got blue mail, so, you know, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, and I think the main thing is that I believe Moth takes 8 really good fire rod shots, and that's the entire magic bar. So if you don't have that magic, especially coming out of the torch room, it just doesn't really make the boss fight that feasible. But at least with the fighter sword, you can kind of pokey at him until it works.
Pokey.
Skudge, checking now Death Mountain.
Ooh, this is a good play.
Yeah, he can check the Dark World Death Mountain, and so he'll get some items here. Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny.
It's like 6 items.
Yep, it's pretty good. It's not too long of a check.
And he'll also be able to get information on Turtle Rock. Find out what medallion he needs for that, so...
Yeah, kind of given how the seed's gone, honestly, I think it's probably the best play to do, just because we know where a bunch of other things are. And we know that the worth, more likely than not, probably has to be up here, at least something.
It just seems like such a long wait for that Wallmaster to come get you, but it's the easiest and best way to do it without taking damage.
I'd be surprised if you find the hammer here, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh wait, we did find the flippers. Okay, I was thinking, well, what about East Dark World? But we did find the flippers, so...
Yeah, that's true. That is our access to East Dark World, so...
Yeah.
I'd love to see, like, a hammer and pod scenario.
Yeah. It's nice that they changed the pod logic, but now it kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into the codes and routing that you had in V26. But so my thought originally was that like hammer or something to get to East Dark World, but because we have the flippers, there might not be a whole lot in Hookshot, but of course we'll need to see.
I believe I saw bombs.
Yeah,
I didn't see
bombs and shield.
What was the other chest? Oh, more bombs.
Yeah, more bombs.
Tons of bombs. Okay, cool. And it is Ether for Total Rock, and there's a tree pull there.
Yep, you can pull one of the claws.
What? What? I've never seen that.
Actually.
That's kind of goofy if you think about it. Oh, cool. Well, you learn something every day, I guess.
Pull his finger. Pull his finger.
Right? That's funny. Alright, Zaen does have a safety parry, so he doesn't have to worry too much. You should pull out that B-Torp, though. Actually, you should. You should never trust B-Torp. All he does is knock Mothula right into you and then kill you. Every time. But he doesn't need any other safeties. Finishing off Mothula with only a heart and a half.
Yeah, and he gets his 20 rupees.
So now...
But the green pendant. We'll get
to we got
green pendant does.
Got Sahasrara on the table. So, at this point, Zaen is now a crystal ahead, but a crystal and a pendant ahead. So, Skudge is going to be catching up a little, going through Thieves Town now, where he'll get his flippers. So, yeah, Skudge is a little behind. He's going to need to make some big plays at some point. Unfortunately, the big plays he's been making have not been saving him, or you know, saving him that much time.
How to bounce back from big plays? More big plays.
Mm-hmm. Except when it doesn't work.
So it looks like Zaen is indeed going to Szechuan to cash in his pendant.
Alright, this could be big. What is it?
Ooh,
Red tunic. Alright, well, For Skudge, he needs to not go back to Skullwoods then. He wants to save a little bit of time.
Yeah, especially, like, I mean, it's really tempting, right? Because it's like, if you don't have the flippers or you don't really have a lot of options, you're like, well, Mothula's gotta have something. But Zaen going to check Murray area. It's a very good quick check. Definitely agree with it. Got a little info on the Meyer medallion.
I believe it was also Ether. So double Ether. And let me see. I missed that first chest, so let me see what it is. Oh, it was a heart container. Okay. So nothing in the Meyer area. Just knowledge. And some hearts. And it looks like Zane's going to be checking at the East Dark World Death Mountain next. So we need Ether. We need Cane of Samaria. We need Hammer. And we need Mirror and another sword.
And this is correct. So far it's giving what we know. It's looking like Eastern Death Mountain Pyramid Catfish pod area. Might have the key we need.
Yeah, whoever makes the pod play first might get a bit of an advantage out of it, but you never know. Hammer could be in pod, could be in Ice Palace. We also... What else do we have left to check? I think that's it. We've seen the Dark World stuff. So it's gotta be pod, pyramid, catfish, all, you know, those
that
fancy things.
Ice Palace without the hammer.
Yeah, it's a scary one, but you know, they gave him the flippers, so who knows?
It's true. It's totally not a red herring.
Totally not. No way.
The game just wants to give you a Canadian ice hug. Trust the flipper. Go into ice. So they're pretty much just trading spots at the moment. If it was you, what would you do? Where would you go? Would you go into Ice Palace? I think going over to Catfish and then working down probably be the safer bet.
Alright, so what's the next big play we need to make?
I think going to Dark World, maybe going Catfish in the Pyramid area would be good, but is he going to go? Oh, I think he might be doing it.
I just realized that Skudge didn't have a sword for Thieves Town, so he couldn't complete it.
No.
So
and this is kind of why I like to do the South Dark World, to potentially get items, hammer, etc. Because then you're a little bit more buffed for when you go into.
And now, oh no!
But...
And how he grabbed the frog without doing digging game, so he's gonna be missing his sword for even longer.
There's nothing in digging game. When does digging game have worth?
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's the third dungeon Skudge has gone into that he hasn't been able to complete. Like, he's the third dungeon he's potentially forced himself to double dip. And, you know, all these seconds, every second counts, so... And that's also going to put him off from getting... Well, he got the flippers, so all he has to do is go back and finish Thieves Town later. But still, that's not a fun walk all the way back to get the maiden.
No, definitely not.
You
The plus side, though, is that there's still plenty of race left, so it's not like it's going to necessarily hurt him too much. Because Zaen is making a very bold play here, and if it doesn't work out, this too could be a lot of time. But if it does work out, then, I mean,
yeah, I wonder.
It'd be a very solid and good play from him.
I wonder with the flippers in hand if he'll go ahead and hop in the water and check out Pyramid, even with the frog. Oh, whoop. I was like, he's stalling because he's thinking. I was like, no, wait, that's just the stream. It's lagging for a little bit. And a heart container for the first chest in Ice Palace. We're still looking.
We're still looking.
So the fact that he took the maiden out the front door, I'm assuming the maiden would go back to their cell then. They wouldn't go to the boss room.
It'd be pretty convenient if the boss is like, yeah, okay, catch you later, boo. I'll just meander over to the boss chamber here.
You can imagine that. All right, see you later. I'll be waiting over in the light. All right.
Yeah, it's part of the disguise, right? You gotta play the part like, yeah, no problem.
That's cool.
Just,
I'll just
cool. Cool.
Thanks for kind of saving me, I guess. Yeah.
It's hard times, but busy. I get it. I got a 9 to 5 myself.
It's like Skutch is also going to be making the Ice Palace play as well, but it's going to be a little bit trickier without a sword. But at the same time... Actually, no. It's not like they can complete this dungeon anyway, so this is a fine play.
Yep. I mean, it's a little bit of a strange spot because going into pod, you don't have a hammer, but also you don't have a lantern. So that really chops the dungeon up too. So it's kind of like, I don't really feel necessarily that Ice was more of a gamble at all. I feel it was pretty comparable in terms of doing whichever, because either way you're partially locked out of each dungeon.
Yeah, personally, I mean, well, at the same time, like, we're missing lamps, so, these players might be thinking, well, the game doesn't want me to go to pod yet. But I personally, I feel like the pyramid pod play would be my first choice compared to going into Ice Palace.
Yeah, it could be something where pod has the lantern, which opens the dungeon, but then you found the hammer in Ice or something.
Mm-hmm. But it's worth remembering, these players don't actually need to finish this dungeon. It is a pendant, so, they'd rather...
That's really interesting, too.
Because if they get whatever items they need, then they could just never come back. They don't have to double dip this dungeon.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I really do like that.
Oh, man. Zaen could not get that hammer or that bomb jump there. I see him, he was struggling with the bomb jump, the first bomb jump, and I wonder if, is this his normal sprite he plays as? Because sometimes changing sprites makes it a little bit more difficult to set up these, quote-unquote pixel-perfect setups.
Yeah, for a lot of sprites, you can look at the shadow and kind of get a more universal idea of what to do. But I think her name's Popoi. She's a little bit thicker, so it's a little bit trickier. It's a very good point, though. Because he has the knowledge. He knows what to do. And also tournament, too, right? Can make a person a little bit nervous. But if there is something in Ice, this will be a real detriment to him.
Yeah, this could be the big play that Skudge needs. I mean, you could check the big chest, or the freezer chest, and then you could check that one chest on the right side that you have to, like, go cross over the spikes and hit the switch. But that's pretty much it. Everything else would be a sequence break.
Yeah, this is a very good lonely firebar room from Skudge. Can be a little tricky to get. It requires a little bit of a specific technique to do. But yeah, this dungeon is definitely a little yucky to route. And I think Skudge paused there for a second. He's like, how am I going to do this?
I think both players did that. I think they both stopped and like, can I check it? Is there anything else I could do in here? So if this is huge, hammer or something. Oh, just the compass. Alright, well they can still drop down and check that one jelly chest, but...
Yeah, he's thinking about it. You have to go the long way around, unfortunately.
Yeah, now he's probably regretting just setting up the bomb jump, because now he has to go all the way down to Cold Stair, like all the way down there and go back upstairs if he wants to check it.
Yeah, you have to drop down to Cold Stair and then work your way back up. You can do it even though you don't have the keys, because it's just the way the game works with leaving. It's a little bit of a long trip, but...
Skudge? Skudge? Is he gonna go back and hit the switch and then keep going?
That might be what he does. Oh, he's gonna hover. he can do it.
What is going on?
But...
I know he could. Yeah, he definitely can. But it'd be easier just to go down and walk your way through. Okay, he's gonna save and put out.
So very interesting. If there is something, of course, there's a lot going on. So Zaen did check catfish, but if there is something in ice, it's gonna kind of be the bane of each runner, which will make for a very fun watch, but not a very fun experience.
Because that chest is accessible with. If you don't do the Ice Palace bomb jump, you can actually get to that chest. So it is part of the logic. So who knows? Alright, Zaen gonna be the first player to head to Pod. Catfish and Pyramid, I think they both have big 20s. So Pod's gotta be the answer at this point, unless it's that one chest in Ice Palace that they both scab.
In one way, it's kind of nice to get rupees, because they're like, well, that means less rupees for the future. But when you're kind of starting to get a little bit locked here, you're like, oh, okay, where's my item?
How many big 20s are there, though? Like 32 or something?
I don't know. I want to say more, but...
It never runs out. There's always more big 20s.
Yeah.
Always.
But Zaen and Pod here, there's definitely gotta be something. I partly want to think it's the lantern, which will open up a few other things, like escape dark room. Oh, no, but there's the hammer.
Hammer, first chest in Pod. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's Rando right there for you, if I've ever seen it.
So the hammer is good. So now they can totally go back to Ice Palace and find their worth. But, no,
the funny part about it is like, what was their first item? And yet, like, unless we find more stuff in here, so I guess this dungeon could still continue to be bow locked, or if we find. But where's that lamp?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot more worth in here. But yeah, hammer is great. Now they can finish dungeon. It'd be a sequence break, but that's not a problem for both runners.
Yeah, especially with the fire run.
Unless they find an item, and then it gets messy for routing.
All right, Skud's gonna be picking up their sword. 4 digs. He's probably thinking, ah man, I took the frog instead.
He opted for the square Tetris piece, so that's pretty interesting. Zaen went for the squiggly S one.
And now it looks like he's gonna back up and go kill blind. Maybe? Nope.
Maybe.
Nope.
Blech, blech.
He's probably gonna go to catfish too. Oh no, he's gonna go back to skull.
There is an item there. He has the fire rod. It's the thing that it kind of burns in the back of your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just
unfortunately, I mean, he'll get his red tunic, but.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's a pendant, so it's like it's kind of in that weird no man's land. But having the flippers, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. It's surprising to see him go back and do this as opposed to at least go into blind, who also I think has an item, but is actually a crystal. So who knows? All right, nothing else in Pod yet. Now here's the thing: that hammer. What does that unlock for us? We got Peg Cave.
Yep, we got
Ice Palace.
Yep, we got Ice Palace, we got Hammer Peg, we got,
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Oh, Hera.
Oh, Hera, yeah, you're right. Oh, that's a big play. It is a crystal. There's 2 items over there.
Oh.
Well, let's see. Let's talk about this pedestal. It could be medallions. At this point, I think the pedestal could only be swords or medallions. Can't be Kane because we have Meyer as a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
All right, let's see if Skudge can pull this off.
No. I'm secretly hoping for it, just so that they can flesh out Pod here. But
Sketch got. They both already have 4 bottles. Wow.
This is so scary.
He's got a fairy.
Oh, okay. The fairy is good, but it's just, oh man. Fighter Sword Moth, not like this. Got some really solid hits in the theme Spilly though.
Oh, that is true. I guess we could get a mirror on the pedestal.
Solid fight.
And
that was really good.
Grabbing his big 20. I wonder if he's gonna go to Thieves first or if he's gonna go check this.
It's a little rude to try and traverse back through Skullwoods to the town, so I feel like maybe saving a bit would be better. It looks like he is going to go through. Thought about it for a second. Meanwhile, Zaen in the dark room, doing a good job finding his compass.
Yeah, I think he was lined up the wrong way. He wasn't low enough. He was trying to find that chest, but he was like a little too high.
Yeah, the problem, like, this is a very fun dark room to do, but it's also the kind of dark room where if you mess it up, you're like, where am I?
I still bring up like a resource.
Different dungeon.
For that dungeon, I always bring up the map, so I can be like, okay, this is where I have to go, blah, blah, blah. I will never not use a resource for those dark rooms. It's just so much more convenient than trying to muscle memory it.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart idea.
Alright, look at Skudge. He might be making the play. Looks like it. So he'll be going to Pod. Catfish to Pod, probably.
Oh, look at this.
Jeez, what a jerk.
Cyclops. Keep off our land, chucking the bombs. But yeah, no, this is good. He'll check Catfish here. With the boots, it's not that bad, and Catfish has been known to troll. So definitely a solid check. And then he can work his way down.
Especially this far into the run, you gotta be thinking every location is like just as valuable as the next. And who's gonna predict the hammer in the first chest of Pod? Like, come on. Vanilla hammer, get out of here. Yeah, that was a bit of a long check, Pod check for Zaen. His dark room's costing a bit of time.
Yep, between the dark room and not having the mirror, Pod actually does take quite a bit longer. If you have those things, it's a pretty short dungeon overall, but
yeah, the rare go
definitely add up more than a person might think.
The rare go mode Pod is always a nice sight to see, but rarely happens. Rare. Well, now at this point, where's that lamp? So at this point, it's got to be either in the hammer pegs or it's got to be in Hera. I feel like we got all 4 items out of Beast Town, but I might be incorrect.
It'd be pretty fun to use a fire source to get to the basement in Hera to unlock a fire source.
I mean, I remember a fire rod in Mire race in the tournament that I lost. So it happens. It's a rare sight to see, but it certainly happens. GG, by the way.
GG.
Alright, Skudge making his way to Pod. He'll be getting that hammer here pretty soon. And Zaen pulling out the fire rod to take care of this turtle room. Still, only fighter sword. Will we see a sword upgrade before our first hour? Or are we going to be stuck with that fighter sword for a little bit longer?
Only fighter sword, just like nature intended it. But the turtle room there, it can be a fun dark room to do, but also very not fun dark room to do. So having the torch, having the fire rod is definitely very useful to have. And now it's ancient comes.
They gotta be. Could always drop some B strats.
It's gotta be.
I gotta say, probably the most hype races to watch for me are the ones where players are going into G Tower with just the fighter sword.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
Or you're going to get in tower without the bow.
Oh my gosh.
That one's fun too.
That one's crazy. You rarely see that though, but yeah.
I had powder lead to that cave to get the bow.
Ugh. Alright. Helms are down. So, we didn't get anything else in Pod. So, Pod just led to the hammer. In the first chest. Huh. Okay. So, where to next? I would probably go to straight up to Hera. You got a fire source, you got a sword, you got a hammer. You can complete all of it, and it's a crystal. And that looks like what Zaen is going to be doing right away.
Yeah, I think in Skudge's case, I would actually route to the hammer peg, but that's because you can do Thieves' Tome. So you do Thieves' Tome, knock it out of the way, get the hammer peg, and then, of course, you can check the big chest too, and then go to Hera. But for Zaen, this makes a lot of sense. I think this is a really good option.
You know, maybe partially why Skudge decided to not take the maiden to the boss room was he knew that there were still 2 items left. He knew that the potential of the big chest might be having something important. So maybe he wanted to get the hammer, come back, and then get both of those at once. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or he goofed. 2 sides to every story.
Part of it too is that fighting blind when he's not on the script is very tricky and costs time too. So it definitely would be a strong bit of foresight to leave it to get the big chest and come back later. The only real gamble there would be if blind had the hammer. Because then you
that rarely happens. What is the probability of that happening? I mean, I guess it's no different than it being in the chest right next to the maiden down in the cell. So, all right. So so far, that basement might not be required, but I'm sure if there's an item down there, Zaen will probably go get it.
I just want to point out that we've been seeing some very, really good and interesting strats from each player, with Skudge, the little things he's been doing, especially in Pod here, and then Zaen with that beetle room. So, very, very, very fun to see. 10 bomb upgrade.
Alright.
And a trip to the basement, potentially.
Either Moldy's got our last item, or we're going into that basement.
Yeah, what Zaen tried to do there is I don't know how it works for facing cardinally up or down, but if you are facing, say to the left, you can hold out your sword and actually kind of bend around that barrier there. So if the Kadongo fires fire, you can actually just walk around it.
I've seen people skip that, and I'm still like trying to figure out how they do that. So I need to test that out. I usually just take the hit, but you know. Speaking of taking the hit, Zaen is taking a fall. I have to do it.
Took a dive. See that flip? No, but yeah, it's actually really simple. Yeah, just hold your sword out to the left and kind of try and get a little too comfy with the bar there, and you're like, oh, okay. I'll figure it out first. It's the kind of thing that it's like when you see it and try it, you're like, oh, okay, and then you got it.
I guess it's kind of like the clip in the railing and the hammer jump, or there's like a bonk strat in T-Rock that allows you to get into T-Rock right where the big chest is, which also uses a rail clip. So those rails are pretty broken, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. It's funny you say it because Skudge pretty much just did that, but yeah, no, they have interesting property. What's funny is I was trying to figure out a way to bomb jump and clip over to the bow lock portion, kind of, how you'll see Andy hover to it. Using the bomb, you can get over to that area, but you can't actually move downwards on the rail. I don't fully know the property, but it's like a so close yet so far situation. Zaen and D going into the basement here, and Mr. Skudge going to Houston, I think. Yep.
Yeah, he actually saved and quit out of Pod. He didn't finish it. which is interesting. So he's gonna have to go back and complete it later. So maybe he's gonna go back once he gets, you know, lamp.
Yeah, he might be thinking, well, since it's lamp locked, there might not be any worth behind the crystal, and it's just going for the crystal. So right now he might be trying to look for items in order to progress them, and then clean things up later to try and maybe make a bit of a comeback, or to really, you know, just advance him forward into the sea. And he gets the frame perfect dash in the hallway. Unfortunately, the RNG can make it impossible to dash all the way up. So even though you got the cool pixel, you had to cancel it.
So Tower of Hera holding nothing. So at this rate, it's got to be either further in Ice Palace, or it's got to be in this Thieves Town Big Chest or Hammer Pegs. So this could be big for Skudge.
And as you say that, I think Zaen is thinking of one of those components. Skudge grabbing the waifu. Now about to finish up these.
Well, the problem for Skudge is, you know, he's a few crystals behind now. Oh, wow, there's a Master Sword.
That is actually really interesting, because so we know that Zaen probably won't get pushed to Thieves Town unless he kind of feels that it's eating
He'll probably
away.
never get that.
But it's a sword, and the other swords could be locked. Yeah, it's very low that he would probably go for it. So that could be the go mode sword.
There's no way he'd ever go back and get that.
No,
Which means that progression has to be in Ice Palace then, like on Cold Stair or something.
Yeah, there's probably something in Ice Palace. Maybe the Hammer Peg, I don't think we saw that. But there's, like, again, he's already in Ice Palace, so if he finds something here, he's not going to go back to Thieves Town. This could be very interesting. Again, especially if the swords are locked or in a weird spot.
Yeah, this is big for Skudge. If Hammer Pegs are also holding the next progression item, who knows?
It's also big in the fact that now he can do a lot of low percent and alternate strategies for bosses and even enemies and situations. So it'll definitely catch him up sometime in that alone.
Oh, and he'll also be able to grab the purple chest while he's here too. And which could also hold the next... I forgot about purple chest, because I always forget about purple chest. One
of the first weeklies I ever played, I forgot purple chest, didn't have the bow. I was like, okay, purple's your favorite color, always do purple chest.
Nothing in the peg cave.
Not so. The lunchbox might have something. And then again, here we have Ice Palace. I keep wanting to think like Spike Cave, but we don't have safety.
Skudge did not get the purple chest. Okay. Well, I guess we won't see that for now. But he is going to go up and do Hera.
Yeah, I mean, he has the purple chest there, but it is a little bit odd. I guess he figured because of the save and quit and more time, and probably just better to go up to the mountain.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Alright, we got two more chests coming up in Ice Palace and then on Cold Stair. We've seen one item, I think, the heart container, but we have seen both dungeon items, map and compass. Yeah, this was the compass.
Yeah. It's gonna be very interesting. It's a potential incoming hype.
Yeah, take a hit that stuff up.
Yeah, it was just like
just rail on him.
Helping him.
Poor guy.
Ooh, the cape. But it's like my anger, my fury, my this is really going to town. The cape though, so now we do have a safety for Spike Cave.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, because we already saw Bumper Cave had, I think, a heart container or something. So Coldstair's gonna be having... Well, I guess the last item could be in the big chest. This is still a pendant dungeon! So this could... He could end up finding nothing here. And who knows, maybe progression stops at purple chest. I don't know. But then you're right, that Spike Cave, that could be a good play. To keep in the logic, they would need that cave, but they do have a red potion and a good amount of hearts, hook shot, so
yeah,
maybe Skudge will do that after this, after Hera.
That would definitely be an interesting play. I feel like Spike is the kind of thing where you can leave it for a little bit until you get a safety. Sometimes you want to sequence break some things just because it's more, you know, like it's pruned to do so. It makes sense to the time and where you are. But some things, they kind of eat up a little bit of time if it's not required. It'd be funny if they get the cane here and then they have to go into Mire to, yeah, until they get the mirror or something.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen a single medallion yet. That's a rare sight to see. Alright, Zaen gonna be using his hammer strats on Coldstair. His Fighter Sword doesn't really... Fighter Sword slashes don't do anything, but Fighter Sword spins do, but that's just a waste of time.
Yeah, the red mail makes a lot come here, but it's still not a fight you want to sleep on.
No, not at all.
Pretty intimidating fight.
Though he does still have, I think, 2 fairies in a bottle, so... Make that 1 fairy in a bottle.
Skudge going for the very cool boomerang dash.
That's 1 down.
Oh, he did. Oh, that was really cool. That was a 6 drop.
Oh, did he get the other boomerang dash?
Yeah, but he did it diagonally.
What a madman. Oh, there's Ether. Coldstair required. Wow. We need that for both the... Or at least we need it for T-Rock, so... But that opens up Misery Mire at this point. Now, we don't have the cane to complete it, but, you know, with fire sources, you could at least check all the chests in the beginning and save Viddy for last. Or not at all.
Yeah.
But that's huge for Zaen. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah, very important to get. They don't have a cane for Turok, but they do have the medallion to go into Mire, so it's pretty interesting, again, just the way it's been pushing the players in terms of the seed. And indeed, it looks like he is going to Mire area. No lamp, no cane, but chances are they have their item here in the front of Mire.
Well, we've already had Vanilla Hammer, so might as well give us a Vanilla Cane, too.
Vanilla cane, but no lamp. So, sequence break Viddy. Oh, is he gonna go for Mire 2? Mire 2 is really fun to execute. Try and get the first cycle. It's definitely tricky though. Oh, but he doesn't have Master Sword, that's right.
Aw, just a red rupee out of Spike Cave. Darn. But yeah, depending on what swords the players get, if they ever get any more, Master Sword Ganon is a lot easier when you have the cave.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending on what patterns he gives you. But alright, Skudge, what's the next play? You gonna go back into ice?
Ooh.
Looks like it. Good.
It's good. So how funny would it be if they find Lamp here, which lets them go into the Dark Room in Hyrule, which has the cane. Or the
Did we get the dungeon map in Hyrule Castle?
Oh, that's true. I think we did.
I don't
Maybe
remember.
miscounted.
I think we did. I think it was in the boomerang chest.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be brutal.
That'd be funny.
Especially because both players, I guess... Well, neither of them wanted to Death Warp out, but they did have the Fire Rod, which makes that sewer check a little bit easier. But that would be funny. I would have a good... I'd have a good laugh if that ended up being the cane or, you know, something important.
There may be
Oh,
a turtle or two.
We got the mushroom.
Mushroom.
Good. We've been lacking some fetch quests, so...
Grind up the mushroom into lantern fuel. Or something
Oh.
else. Oh.
Zaen... When did... What? Zaen has the cane. I must have missed it. Cane was in Mire. Excuse me?
I guess.
Was it on the bridge or in the spike? I'm sorry. Bad commentators. Wow. Alright. Well, at this point, do you just go ahead and sequence break and go for pedestal mirror or something? I don't know. What do you do at this point?
Yeah, if it's me, well, it's a pennant too, actually. So they got the cane in the mushroom. Is he assuming
Looks
it's
like
pedestal?
yeah, he's got it at this point because he's already got 2, so might as well go ahead and finish it.
Yeah, it can be a tricky dark room, but it's not that bad. I think the worst is probably the first room where you gotta get that spitch.
I
Playing with the box
apologize.
is really uncomfortable.
I apologize for the seed, guys. My bad. I just took it from a list, so it's not my fault. But this one's bad. This is really bad. What an awful seed. This guy's picking up his cape. Oh. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. He's got to go over there and hit the switch again.
Sick dodge by Zaen. No one could see it, but I assure you.
I'm sure it was sick. Half a heart. I think he still has 1 fairy left. He does have the red potion too.
One cool little strategy you can do if you're having trouble in the spike trap room, in the 3rd room that's right here. You can actually walk straight up and left, and you wait for yourself to get hit twice, and then you hold down and left, and then you can just walk down, lift up the pot, and you should just be able to walk into the door.
That's usually what I do. Walk into the spike. Maybe a few extra times.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times, and...
Yeah, unfortunately, with only half a heart, you don't really get the option of walking into a spike. But fortunately, he did still have his last fairy. So now the only thing that remains in his potion, or in his potion repertoire, inventory, stash, if you will, I believe is a red potion and a bee.
Spoils.
Spoils. The spoils bag.
Oh yeah, this is hit the switch.
So
it's kind
now,
of a pain if you need to do that.
with this... Oh no, Zane's gotta be... Oh, he's not doing it! Okay.
Oh no? He was so close too. But
Yeah,
at that
he was
point, he's
very
probably,
close.
you know what, I'm losing too much time, and he just wants to nope out.
It's not a friendly... The Mire Dark Room is probably the hardest Dark Rooms. Like, the bridge in T-Rock, all you gotta do is just hold down right, that's easy. The Turtle Room and Pod, you just gotta light the torch with a fire rod, or pray for good turtle RNG.
Yeah,
Well, it's all the same RNG, but...
So we're about to find out what the mushroom gets here, and bomb upgrade, woo!
But
in terms of dark rooms, I would say Mire and Eastern are probably some of the trickiest if you don't know what you're doing going in. Mire, kind of self-explanatory, but for Eastern, the reason why I say is because when you go into that room with the Igor, you have to locate the Igor. You got a bunch of popos getting in the way, and then when you go up to the pot in the top left, if you're actually hugging the wall, you will not be able to lift up the pot. So then you have to go down a little bit. And if you're doing the bottom, it's kind of the same thing. So it's kind of like if you don't know what's going on, you're like, why can I not lift up this pot?
And most of the time you have that second Igor like hounding you.
Yeah, and then
while you're trying to lift that pot, you're like, just leave me alone. Okay, Skudge has to be super careful. He doesn't have any more fairies. He used his red potion in Spike Cave. And he's only got the blue tunic because he hasn't turned in his red pendant yet, or his green pendant yet.
Yeah. But he does very well.
Nice.
Goes straight into the fight, gets his Franklin badge, his screw attack, his ether medallion. And now he can go off to Meyer.
So yeah, at this point, you gotta be thinking that Lamp's gotta be in T-Rock, right? Where else could it be?
Yeah, I don't think we sequence broke to get to here. So it most certainly could be in T-Rock.
Yeah, because the rest of Eastern didn't have anything, the rest of Pod didn't have anything. All the dungeons, so yeah, it could be even like Lamp and Mimic. Oh, well, they don't have a mirror.
They could powder glitch Batcave to get the lantern and find powder inside T-Rock.
Wow. Too bad Zaen turned in his mushroom already. Alright, Skudge making the Ether, or the Meyer play with Ether in hand. So he's not going to be too far behind, and depending on if he just bails as soon as he gets his 2 items, could make, you know, keep this a little bit closer, but we still don't know what is on that pedestal. And it would be a sequence break, so...
Yeah, I like how you brought the bird inside after freezing him. Poor bird. Beat him up a little bit. But I think in Zane's case, it made more sense to clear, but for Skudge, I think it'd be best to know about. He doesn't have the other... Well, he has one pendant, but he doesn't have the other one, and so I think it'd be a little too much time, and again, it is a sequence break.
Oh, Skudge has... He beat Mopula and Colster. He should have 2 pendants.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry.
That's alright. There we go. Okay.
Our brilliant tracker here. I wasn't really thinking about it. No, that's true. Yeah. Still, though, I think given the way the seed's gone, you gotta be thinking, well, you know, dipping into ice and everything. Probably just want to know about.
Skudge picking up his Kato Shibaria. What else we got going on? Oh, nice. Chain Chomp Big Key, so... But since we're going to be full clear in this dungeon anyway, it doesn't really matter where the Big Key was located in T-Rock. We're still going to check that one chest in the middle. We'll do all that stuff, so... What are we going to find in here? I'm thinking, like, mirror. Whoa, wait. That's the last thing they need for Go Mode. The only thing is... Zaen needs to find another sword. Now, there's a good chance there's going to be at least one sword in G-Tower, so I don't think he really needs to worry. I don't think he needs to worry too much.
Yeah, don't worry until you don't find it. But, Willard, setting up Ganon Tower for these runners.
It's what I do.
No, but it's very true. He never got the sword in... Oh, there's our lanterns.
There it is. That is... probably one of the worst spots I've seen for the lamp.
So now they can go kill Coldster or not Coldster. They can go kill Vitreous to get their pestle mirror. But no, it's very interesting. He never got the sword in the big chest. So again, that sword could be in a trolley location. Ganon Tower is a safe bet, but of course, it's still at this point a bet.
Yeah, depending on how the rest of this goes, we could see Skudge with Tempered Sword versus Zaen with Masha Sword, so... Of course, Zane's got a pretty tremendous lead right now, especially because Skudge's routing in Meyer was not as optimal. So he ended up doing, like, the vanilla location and all that jazz, but... A big 300. Skudge about to pick up his second item here. I wonder... I can't imagine him going in to the dark rooms. Oh. Alright, so that pedestal is gonna be a big old question mark still.
Yeah, you now defeat Vitreous to lead to, what was it? I had it all planned out in my head, and then I kind of forgot. This is gonna be good. But yeah, just need the mirror. So Laser Bridge will be a lot of fun. It's pretty exciting to check too. A lot of chests in close proximity.
Scutching up to T-Rock. Yep, alrighty. He'll be a few minutes behind at this point, but still following in his footsteps. And, you know, if these players just keep at the same pace, I feel like this could come down to a difference of swords.
Yeah, it could be a difference of swords in terms of executing the tower, and then of course the Ganon fight. If they do have silver, but still the first two phases can be a little bit tricky. And then there is always the left side, right side Ganon tower. So there's still like a lot of play here. But I don't think Zaen found anything, so he's gonna go ahead to try next.
We still haven't seen any progression in this dungeon yet, so that pedestal's still looking like a good spot. Ugh, maybe. Kind of hoping for, but at the same time, this seed has been just brutal. We had a vanilla hammer, and when I say vanilla, I mean it was in the same dungeon it is in the vanilla game. And we had a vanilla Cane of Samaria, and a required cold stare just for the Ether Medallion. The only dungeon that they didn't have to do so far was Skull Woods, but until we know what's on that pedestal, it might have been required. And for those wondering, the only sword upgrade we've seen so far was in Thieves Town Big Chest, which Zaen did not go back to and probably will never go back to at this point. Well, if Trinex doesn't give us progression, he might.
It's been a very interesting seed. I think if a pedestal is required, that'll kind of be a little bit of a cherry on top of how it's played out. It's been, in some ways, weirdly linear, but at other times also trolly and just, like, very uncomfortable in a lot of situations.
Dungeon map. Alright, so that leaves pedestal and the sewer chest in Hyrule Castle.
I'm getting hype.
Imagine if that was the mirror. If that was the mirror, how different the rest of this game would have played out.
That would have been very wild.
We would have seen an earlier Hera, more than likely. We would have seen, you know, the mirror spots, maybe even like an earlier Swamp Palace. But yeah, at this point, we're kind of out of locations, so... Oh! There was a book in T-Rock. How did I miss that? Alright. There's a book in T-Rock, guys. Guys, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, so now going to the desert and can full clear it, get their items.
There is 2 items here. And with T-Rock complete, that does open up Pyramid Fairy for Zaen.
This is true.
So we've got a few options again. It's not as linear as I thought, but if it still ends up being that sewer chest, I'm gonna have a giggle.
Yeah, I'm still rooting for it.
Alright, boots not required for desert. So far, boots have just been a nice little luxury. I don't think they've actually led to anything yet. Nope.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see an item in sewer, but I think desert makes the most sense. You need to clear anyway, 2 items, and then you could probably route in, you know, a thick fairy at some other point, but just need that mirror.
Just need that mirror. That mirror that would put them into go mode. Well, put Scudge into go mode. Zaen would be in sword mode.
And they do have the book, so they could check this. Add 2 penance in, you're kind of thinking, maybe I should.
Oh, and that also...
Half magic.
Alright, that's it for desert. No items left in here, but that half magic is nice to find. So, with the book in hand, we can check the pedestal. We can check Ether Tablet. Whoa. Oh, that's a disgusting Ether Tablet if that's the case.
Yeah, I was thinking
all the way back around.
Both the tablets right now are kind of a little gross to go to. Not so much swamp, but this is assuming we're still looking for mirror anyway, so it's gross regardless.
Well, at least the nice thing for these players, sword dependent, they'll be able to go mode Swamp Palace, which is probably the best dungeon to go mode. But, you know, that could be the difference maker in this. If Skudge just go modes all of Swamp Palace while Zaen checks more stuff looking for a sword, that's time. That's seconds.
For anyone maybe not aware, Skudge has a Master Sword because he found it in the Fuse Jump Big Chest. Zaen is pretty much not likely to ever check it. So even though Skudge is a little bit behind, that sword could be very huge. We've kind of been watching it develop over the course of the race, but Zaen still has not found a sword.
It was actually a very interesting scenario, because Skudge ended up... The first sword was in Digging Game, but Skudge ended up popping into Thieves Town and doing pretty much all of it without a sword. So he ended up leaving without even putting the maiden back in her cell. Or not cell, but the boss room. So when he came back with the hammer, he had to go and get her again. So while he was down there, he was able to check the big chest where he got his sword. So...
There's a small irony here in needing a sword, and then there's a sword in Thieves Town.
Skudge setting up the safety door just in case. He's got the health for it, but...
Yeah, you definitely don't want to die in this dungeon. Using the invulnerability to get the chest. It's a very good strategy. Zaen finishing out of desert. Lots going on. Looks like he's going to fort. Still no mirror, but it looks like he wants to check that tablet right now. And if it is the mirror, it'll work out really well for him just dipping back into Dark World and going straight over to Swamp.
It looks like he's gonna check Pyramid Fairy.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry.
Which, at this point, it's gotta have the mirror. It's gotta.
Still, though, what I said about the tablet does work too. It'd be very convenient if it did have the mirror, but Pyramid Fairy, of course.
Which tablet? Not Bombo's. Because you need the mirror for Bombos? Come on.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. I didn't get my morning coffee today.
Go get some. There's still time.
Just shut up.
Oh, looks like Zane's trying to... I think he's... Is he just... Because I know you can set up the dash with the bomb from a damage boost, but
yeah,
I couldn't tell if that's... I couldn't tell if that's what he was going for, or if he just accidentally got hit.
I'm just gonna say yes.
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 But yeah, here's the downside for Skudge. He is still has to go back to Pod and get that crystal, and then do Desert. So it's gonna cost him a little bit of time, especially the trip back to Pod. He didn't do it because he didn't have a fighter or a fire source. Oh no. And there's the mirror.
And there's our mirror. Now they can check Bombo's tablet.
Now they can check Bombo. So with that, Zaen is now in, minus the sword, at least he's in item go mode. He has the means to get into G Tower at least, so. Just has to go mode Swamp Palace. But yeah, this is looking pretty grim for Skudge at this point, especially with that unfortunate death on the last phase of Trinex.
Yeah, it's a good thing to set up the safety door. And again, if you didn't have that and you spawned earlier in the dungeon, not having magic would put you in a very awkward position too, for you simply just getting back to where you are. But Zaen entering the dungeon, it'll be interesting to see if he go modes it or if he full clears for a sword. I'm thinking he'll probably go mode it and hope for Gown Tower or something. It's still a very interesting situation.
Yeah, he might check a few, like the 3 that are downstairs with Argus, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would.
But that's the thing.
It depends how you feel, right?
There's still 2 more swords out in the world that we don't know of. And there's only a few spots left to check. There's, you know, the pedestal. There's Ether Tablet. There's the sewer in Hyrule. And then Swamp Palace and G-Tower. So there's a lot of chests in G-Tower, but, you know, the worst scenario for a player is to go into G-Tower with a fighter sword and then, you know, big keys in, like, the first 5 chests that they check. And you're like, oh man, I gotta check more stuff.
Sword on Bombo's tablet.
And it looks like he's gonna go ahead and check as much as he can.
That's pretty good. His first chest doesn't take too long. Almost the burrito sinkage.
So now we just need, for Skudge's sake, he needs to go straight to Pyramid Fairy. And then,
which is good. And yeah,
but he still has to.
He's be the best for him.
He still has to finish Pod and do all of Desert, so he'll probably go straight to Desert next. Yeah, this is getting a little. It's got to be a little nerve-wracking for Zaen not having that sword.
Especially before going to Argus. Having a sword makes the fight a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how much time can get eaten up between fighter and even Master Sword for fighting Argus versus, say, Tempered. But with the fighter sword, you're pretty much looking at either spin strat or the menu fight. It's just to get a little more RPG with all the menuing.
Alright, he's gonna be skipping the left side, so at this point Skudge is hoping that there's a sword on that left side of Swamp Palace.
Mm-hmm. That was a really cool bomb strat. That's really good to know if you don't have a sword, but you have the boots. So let's see, little Zaen go south. And she does. I think it's smart. It's really quick.
Oh, and
there is a sword.
Zaen officially in 100% go mode, getting bailed out with a Master Sword in Swamp Palace. So good on him, checking those few extra chests, and now he'll be able to comfortably go mode the rest of the game.
Yep, some blueberries on the way, maybe hoping for a temper. But he can definitely finish things now. That'll be good news for Skudge when it gets here, though. He'll be able to do Tempered Argus.
That's true. Unless he just straight up go modes all of Swamp Palace.
Yeah.
And misses that one.
Swamp is probably, in my opinion, one of the coziest dungeons. You can lose a lot of time here, but it's not too threatening. It's very serene and peaceful with a soft blue color tone. The water. Nearly got the low percent strat, but it's a really good fight. Very solid.
Zaen grabbing his last crystal. He'll be heading up to G-Tower, and guys, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's that time. We play that fun little... Yes.
Oh, great.
It's that fun little time where we get a guess. What do you think that big key's gonna be?
I normally say 12, but I'm feeling 8.
8. I'm gonna go like 15. 15. We'll do 15. That's my guess.
going with the Hiei pick. I think he tends to go 15. But yeah, he'll be making his way into Ganon Tower here. Half Magic has the lamp. This would be very good. Silver too. So he's really well poised for the fight and for the climb. Red Mail. Really just hoping for a sword as he goes up here. Meanwhile, Skudge going to go clean up the rest of the dungeons now. There's still a lot of race left, a lot of potential, but Zaen has a very comfortable lead right here. Barring any big disaster, he's very well poised. And these Grandma Centaurs are the worst. They only take damage if you have at least tempered. There's some things you can do if you want to avoid damage. You can use the hook shot, or you can use the mirror, but obviously it eats up a little bit of time. That's really only if you absolutely want to make sure you don't get hit. You can do a hammer dash to hit one of the centaurs at the centaur at the very end of the bridge, but still a little bit of pain. Zaen going right. 1 and 2. Blueberries and a rupee. Looks like he's opting to do left side. There's no key on the right side. This is probably why he opted to just go from the right to the left. It's a good play regardless. Number 3 is key. 4 is a little bit of love. Bomb upgrade. And another key. Because of the way the logic works, I think that the more keys you get, it means it's less likely to have the big key on the right side. I don't know 100%, but I remember kind of hearing about that, and then when you think about it, because of all the key doors that you need to do. That or I have it backwards. I'm trying to think. Regardless, very good execution from both runners right here.
Alright, hi, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
Still looking for that big key, I see.
This is true. He went to the right side and got the 2 chests, and then he went to the left. The right side did not have any key.
Did Skudge already finish Desert Palace?
Here I finished Desert yet. And there's a big key.
In chest number,
I think that was 9.
9? 1 off?
I believe so.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? 10?
10.
If they did the first 2 on the right? Ah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I did the first 2 on the right. Oh, that's true, the torch. City, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that was 10. Okay. Quick maths. I completely forgot the torch.
Well, it looks like I can honestly say Zaen is poised to take this race. We'll be going 2-0 and moving on in the bracket. It's still a little... Skudge is going to need a miracle. He's pretty far behind. He still has to get that mirror out of Pyramid Fairy. And then go mode Swamp Palace. But yeah, this could have been a completely different game had Zaen not found that Master Sword in Swamp. But I gotta say, guys, I feel like so often there's always a sword upgrade in Swamp.
It does feel pretty common. I could agree. Yeah, this is a very important race. In case anyone's not sure, obviously the score is up above, but the loser of this is unfortunately out of the tournament, and the winner gets to move on and sweat and stress for another week or two. But Zaen doing a very good job to get through the tower. That's the other thing too. Skudge already has a sword, so he's probably not as likely to go down and get temper. So even when he gets to the tower, or like progressionally how it'll go, even when he gets to the end tower, he might still be at Master Sword. Yeah, I think Zaen would need to basically despawn the tower, and even then he'd still have a very healthy lead. But Skudge getting his mirror here, so it's really good for him. And this will officially put Skudge into go mode. Zaen checking a couple of these chests here, just hoping for another sword.
Yeah.
Expect he'll check the final closure chest to hope for a sword upgrade. But at this point, it's looking Master Sword Ganon.
that last chest, getting bailed out by the last chest, that'd be entertaining.
Yeah, it's
We've
always
seen it happen.
It's kind of interesting too. It's like, do you want it to happen or do you not want it to happen? But this time it's the compass.
So yeah, Skudge is about a Go Mode Swamp Palace and a rando room visit behind, as well as a Death Mountain climb. And you know, it could have played out differently had that Death in Eastern cost him a lot of time. Bailing on Pod instead of finishing it cost him a bit of time too. Going into Skull Woods without the sword, and the fact that he never even turned in that green pendant either.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate with the way the seed turned out. It's not even necessarily that, you know, he did any big terrible decision, because in another seed that could have worked out for him.
Mm-hmm,
it's
exactly.
Unfortunate with the way he played it. With the way it played out, and everything. Obviously, we know it didn't quite work out, but that's just how it goes. Yep.
And, you know, he's still not going to be too far behind in the end, depending on how he routes G Tower. But let's see these Master Sword. That was a pretty decent Aga 2 from Zaen. Let's see this Master Sword Ganon fight. We do have silvers, we have cape. He did pick up a blue potion and I believe a green potion. And he has half magic, so I can't imagine this going too bad. He does have to be careful, but he does have red tunic as well, so...
Yeah, he's got a lot of safety going for him.
Oh, and especially when you get patterns like this, you want to see him up in that top left or top right.
Yeah, he's been getting some very fortunate patterns here.
Alright, moving on to phase 2.
Yeah, it takes 12 charge slashes for the first phase. It takes another 12 for the second.
Ooh.
And then, of course, for the third, it takes 4.
Oh, he also has a red potion, too.
Not the bee? Yeah,
Use the bee!
He had everything, just about. He had red, green, and blue. And
yeah, it just needs a 5th bottle with a fairy in it, and then be set.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, phase 3 for Zaen. Very good first 2 phases. It really helps having those safeties, though. That cape and Ice Palace played a big part, because that fight is so hard when you don't have the cape.
Yeah, and even if it's not necessarily harder, it can just save a lot of time because you don't have to worry about being too up close and personal and dodging a trident or dodging fire bats. Thankfully, they also have silver, so it's not like they're doing 24 spin slashes on this final phase.
That's 2 silvers. There's the third one. Here's number 4. That's gonna do it.
And so GG to Zaen, barring any falling. He should be our winner.
The pig is down. Zaen gonna be taking first place and moving on the bracket with a time of 1:49.50, just shy of that 150. So sub 150, very nice. Skudge,
nice.
Congratulating his opponent in IRC. I'm assuming he's gonna go ahead and finish it out since he is just about to head up to G Tower. So congratulations to Zaen. Let's see if he wants to come in.
Meanwhile, Skudge having a very good fight, congratulating his opponent in the RSC. Not entirely. Oh, okay. Oh no? Yes, to fix it.
What?
Skudge is drawing a G.
Oh no!
Oh no! Okay, use the bow. Very smart.
So, you know, this is how you congratulate your opponent.
Very well executed, using a dash buffering to change his position, and quickly reacting with the arrow on the enemy, so he doesn't slash the ground.
And with that,
very well executed.
Skudge is gonna drop out of this race. Not worth finishing that G Tower. Congratulations to both our opponents on a crazy rate. What a goofy seed, really. Like Hammer, Kane, get out of here.
Goofy. Yeah, it was definitely a seed. And yeah, it completely makes sense. He's still a little way behind, and it's pretty much just an execution fest. And I mean, why play just a little bit more Zelda when you can go get a coffee or a bite to eat? Both are good options, but this early, I think a lunge is probably what would be on my mind.
With that, I think Skudge might be hopping in for a little chat. I'm gonna leave that interview up to you because I gotta run do some tourney stuff. So thank you guys for having me. Cheers.
Have a good one. Thank you for joining me. Looks like they're in the waiting room here. Hello to both of you. Congratulations, Zaen, on your victory. And you both did a really good job. How are you feeling?
It was a really horrible seed in my opinion. Like, the beginning was really nice, but then the end game was just horrible.
Yeah, it was kind of fun for us to watch, but we could definitely feel a lot of the pain and just the way it led you guys, and just kind of the funny things that happened between both of you, like both going to Ice Palace and having a little unfortunate time there. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the seed? I mean, like you just said a little bit, but I mean, is there anything that you liked about it? Anything you really didn't like in particular?
As I said, the beginning was really nice. We got a lot of items like the bow, both rods, the boots really early, and then it just went downhill from there, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was some neat stuff there. I tried to have some fun with it. I tried to go to Eastern first. Thought that was kind of a bold play, and it didn't exactly work out. But that's the nice thing sometimes about really strange items, though, is you have an option to do something like that that you very, very rarely even have the option to do.
Yeah, and there's also the option where, had you guys not gotten the flute or the boots, you know, the hookshot could have played into some other factors of like mobility or whichever, but it was a very bold play and unfortunately didn't really work out the way you wanted, but it was still very interesting to watch. There's a lot of cool tricks and tech from both of you, very well executed.
Some of it was.
I was a bit concerned that the mirror was on the pedestal, but
I thought so too.
We were all hoping.
Well, yeah, I was probably going to check. I was probably going to read the pedestal text right after going to the fairy fountain.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation because did it give you, like, you guys pretty much were forced into the penance and then, you know, clearing it, and Zaen was attempting to finish Meyer to get the pennant, again with Pestle in mind, I imagine, but this is a very, you know, kind of a 50-50 see where it's like, oh, do I go for the Pestle or do I, like, leave it? You know, just the way the seed played out, it probably felt like you guys, I can imagine both of you felt behind, like, for much of the seed, just with how it went about.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely thought I was behind, like right from the start, just because of that bad Eastern play. But yeah, and then a lot of other bad things happened, and a few cool things, and you know, some medium things.
I felt behind right after the first Ice Panda step. It didn't really pay off for me. And it was pretty clear that I had to come back later on, so it felt like a really bad play. And yeah, I felt really behind at the point.
It's understandable. And it's kind of funny because, again, both of you actually went into a pretty early Ice Palace play, and then both of you had to actually double dip it. So even though you fell behind, you both did the exact same play. So it turned out to be very equal in that regard.
You know, I was regretting going into Ice Palace right when I did, for some reason. Like, there was something else I remembered that I should have done, or something. I don't know. And I had no rupees for the digging game, and that's where the sword was, right? Oh man.
Yeah.
That sucked, dude. I wanted to do that right away. I knew something was going to be there, too. In fact, I couldn't even afford the bottle merchant item at the start. So when I went back to town, I had to decide later, do I get the merchant item or do I do the digging game? Because I couldn't afford both, and I chose the merchant.
It was pretty interesting too because you went into Thieves Town after to, like, you double dipped it, and then you got the sword in Thieves Town. But Zaen never got that sword, so for the entire run, he was actually fighter sword up until Swamp. And so, of course, for us, we were also really interested in that because even though you were a little bit behind in the beginning, that could have factored in really big into the end. So, of course, as it got closer, like, is this pedestal? Where's our sword? Where's our lamp? Where's our mirror? Like, things were starting to, you know, really crunch, bottleneck in the end. And so it was very interesting. But Zaen did find a sword upgrade in Swamp towards the end there. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, well now he's, you know, definitely in good mode. He's poised to do well. And so there's a lot of interesting little politics that could have come from it.
Yeah.
And
well,
the
Zaen,
irony. Sorry.
You gotta win the whole thing now for me, all right? The whole
I'll
tournament.
try my best.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Superskuj is now out of the tournament, but Zaen will move on. You get to sweat and stress and prep for another week. GG's to you. And definitely wish you luck. If there's anything you two would like to say, by all means, go for it.
No, I think I'm good today.
GG.
Yeah, GG, definitely.
Okay, well, I think for now that probably about wraps up if no one has anything they want to chime in with. But
I want to say something.
Oh, okay.
Skudge, are you gonna try for the main tournament next spring?
Probably not. I might not do any more speedrunning events.
Okay. All right, that's all I need to know. I'm sure Zaen will, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, cool. I look forward to watching more. Sweet. All right, cool. Thank you. That's all I had to say. Sign us off.
Okay. You're sure? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you to everyone who participated and watched, to our tracker, to our restreamer, to my co-commentator, and of course, especially to the racers. You guys did very good. It's a very interesting show. Make sure to follow Speed Gaming if you have not, and of course the ALTTP randomizer channels for the secondary. Lots of fun to be had. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you and goodbye.